What is up, YouTube? Mr. Bankster23 here. I know it's been a couple weeks since I put a video up. The last video I put up was the faith video, and since then a lot has happened in my life, and part of it I've been kind of avoiding making this video. The other part of it I really wanted to make, and I shot a video to talk about some of the topics I wanted to talk about today, but then other things happened and I totally ditched that video, deleted the whole fucking thing, and decided that I wasn't gonna, you know, use the footage that I shot. Sorry if it's windy. I'm opening up my vents. It's like 83 degrees today. I have to close the mouth then. Alright, so we'll start off with work, because that was the last thing that I was really talking about in videos before I went through this shit that I've been going through. Let's see. Last time I talked to you guys, I was talking about how I really wanted to go and get my CDL, and how I applied to the post office. I never heard anything back from them, and I didn't know where I stood with it or what was going to happen with it, but I just kind of was waiting in limbo, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. Well, basically, since I shot that video and I talked about it, I received an email. Shit, I mean, we're getting to like a month ago already, because it's been that long since I really shot videos and discussed it. When I shot the last video that I shot, I already knew about it. I just didn't want to announce it until I had already officially started. But I received an email from the post office saying, you know, "Dear Mr. Bankster23, congratulations, welcome to the post office," which is really freaking cool because it's the post office and it's a great job, it's a great career. I went through my orientation and I went through driving training and stuff, and actually tomorrow I start my first day delivering mail, which is really cool because it's a good job and it pays pretty well. So we got that off the list. It's sad for me to say, but unfortunately Mrs. Bankster23 and I decided to part ways. We realized that there were issues that we had together that we could not deal with and continue to be in a healthy and happy relationship. So we ended things. And I'm not going to say that it was necessarily on the best terms or the worst. It's just that it is what it is, unfortunately. And I mean, that's about it. And it's been like that for a couple weeks now, and that's pretty much a big reason as to why I haven't shot video. Between that, working, because I've been going back and forth between helping out the brothers and the whole postal service thing. So I've been really busy, and the days that I have had off, it's been really rainy out, or I haven't been sleeping, so I didn't feel safe riding, being, you know, on like 2 hours of sleep. That's a big thing, and I'm not going to get into details out of respect for her. But basically, we decided that after 4 years, it wasn't working out for us, and that we needed to do other things in our lives, and that we didn't have the same goals anymore. So that's that. I've recently reconnected with a very old, very close friend of mine that we had a terrible falling out about 5.5 years ago. I think I could refer to her as Sally. I think that's what I'll use. I use Sally. But Sally and I reconnected, and we've just been spending a little bit of time together, just hanging out and talking, just being there for one another. But that's what's been going on like the past week of my life. Let's see, I haven't really ridden. I rode a couple times going into the post office, you know, riding into work and stuff, but the weather's been really crappy here. You know, we haven't really had much of a spring, or at least a dry spring. Our spring's been very wet, and we've had a lot of rain and a lot of wind. So the days where it was dry and warm enough to ride, there was too much rain, or I mean, there was too much wind. And for those of you that have ridden in you know, 30, 40, 50 mile an hour winds, I mean, that motherfucker will blow you all around the road. So that is crazy. I don't like that. That's just a part of what's been going on. What else has been going on? That's another thing I wanted to talk about, is that I am very interested in purchasing a new motorcycle. And now with this new job, I think I can afford to save up. I'm not going to keep this motorcycle much longer. I'm gonna sell it. I got a friend of mine who really wants to teach his girlfriend how to ride, and he made me an offer last year on the bike that I thought was very fair, considering the condition of the bike. So when I have a little bit of funds put away, which hopefully will be in the next couple weeks, I'm gonna give him a call and tell him to come on up and meet me, and check out the motorcycle. Maybe we'll go and we'll ride together, because he does ride, and maybe from there, once he checks it out, if he is still interested in it for his girlfriend, he'll purchase it from me, and it'll give me the remaining funds that I need to pick up the bike that I want, which currently what I've been looking at is the 2009 CBR 600RR. I'd like to test drive one when I actually have the money to buy one, you know, before I go out of left field and fucking crash a bike that I can't pay for, because, you know, that shit would suck dick. Although they do have insurance for that shit. But yeah, I was looking at that, and I'm very interested in one of those. So that's good potential that within the next maybe month and a half, 2 months, I'll pick one of those guys up, and we'll be moving a little bit faster, able to take a little bit more of long distance rides, which in my opinion is fucking awesome. But that's one thing that's on my mind. Gosh, I forgot how good it felt to ride. It's been like 2 weeks ago I rode, right? This past week I didn't ride at all because I was working, and then the week before that I actually got caught in the rain one day for a couple minutes, and it wasn't even that long. I was just caught in the rain for a few minutes, for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and it was just enough to get me wet when I was riding back from work. And then by the time I got home, I was dry again, and the bike was dry, so it's kind of weird. It was very strange. Sweet. Fucking rock out, guys. I love. And I wanted to start doing like a little mini series, maybe story time. I don't know. With this new job, I don't know how often I'm going to be riding, because they told me that it's possible I could be working up to 13, 14 days straight, because the post office, there's a lot of people there that have a lot of seniority, and they book out their vacation time. So pretty much the calendar's booked out until like September, from like now until September, and then after September we get into the holiday season, you know, between October and January, I guess, because of gift cards and all that fun stuff. So I know from Thanksgiving until after New Year's there's like no days off, and they told us to expect to work a lot. But I did meet my postmaster, and one of the secretaries there, I think she is, does like office work and shit, and they were like, don't expect to take too much time off. You know, we need you. Expect to work. Expect to come in and work at least 5 or 6 days a week. Which, because I'm in the union, is fucking fine by me. I want to work as much as I can and make as much money as possible, and save up as much money as possible. Let's see. Oh, here's another thing that happened. I got my first speeding ticket like 3 days ago. I was in my car and I had to go down to White Plains for work for doing driver's training, learning how to drive the right-hand drive postal trucks, which are really freaking weird when you're on the other side of the road, especially driving in a country that's left-hand drive. Because, well, what are you doing up here, car? Because when you're in a right-hand drive car, you're over here, and it's like with the post office, they want you to leave space on this side of the lane so that you aren't too close to other cars because of how wide the vehicles are, which is really freaking weird. And the way that they turn is really weird. But I was coming back up from White Plains from doing the driver's training, and I was on 684, and I didn't have my radar detector on because I'm a freaking idiot, and I'm kind of mad at myself for it. And I got my first moving violation. A state trooper clocked me at 90 in a 65, which, I don't know if any of you guys have ever driven European cars, but with a European car, when you're doing 90 miles an hour, you do not realize it. And I know it sounds so stupid and bullshit, blah, 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 but I assure you, my little GTI, it's a 1.8 turbo. The engine doesn't rev that high when you're doing 90 miles an hour in 5th gear because they're meant to go just a little bit faster than that. So it's not like I was spinning in a high gear like a little Honda where I would have known that I was doing 90 miles an hour. And I have a racing suspension, so it's not even like the freaking shit was all over the place. So it was very stiff, and I didn't even notice. I mean, I legitimately, I did not notice that I was going 90 until I got pulled over for doing 90 miles an hour. And it's the first time I've ever gotten a speeding ticket in my life. And the state trooper was kind enough to drop it down because, you know, he asked me if I ever had any moving violations before and anything like that. And, you know, I told him flat out when he pulled me over, I was like, you got me, man. I was doing 90 miles an hour. And he's like, you know, why didn't you have your radar detector on? I said, because I was charging my cell phone. And he's like, well, that is really shitty. If you're going to go that fast, you should probably have your radar detector on. And I was like, well, you know what? I know that now. And you learn that lesson once. So I learned that lesson the hard way one time. And I have court in a month. And I think I'm going to hire a lawyer just because of my job. I really can't afford to have points on my license. I don't know if 2 points will automatically disqualify me for my job, but I am on probation, and I really don't want to lose this job. So if I have to, you know, hire an attorney and pay him $500 or $600 to talk to the prosecutor to have them reduce my speeding ticket and give me, you know, I don't give a fuck if I'm paying a big fine. With this job, I make enough money that I can afford to pay a big fine. As much as I don't want to, my first paycheck caught me up with all my bills because it's a pretty decent job, and I don't really have too much overhead. I don't have a car payment. Like I said, if I end up paying $1,000-$1,500 altogether between the attorney's fees and court surcharges and shit, you know what, it is what it is, and it'll be a financial reminder to not speed, because I really don't normally drive fast. I mean, I'll go maybe 5 over when I'm on the motorcycle, or 10 over, depending upon the road and the weather conditions and shit like that. And on the highway, I usually try and keep it around like 70, 75, because, you know, usually 75, but they're 70, the cops really won't fuck with you too bad, because that's usually the speed the traffic moves in. But unfortunately, I didn't realize that I was doing 90 because I haven't really been driving my car too often, because, like I said, when the weather is nice, I drive my motorcycle as much as possible. But it was White Plains, it was a 145-mile round trip, so I couldn't really necessarily ride my bike there on the highway because I don't trust it. So, kind of fucked myself there. So if you guys have any suggestions, the cop basically, when he gave me my ticket, he dropped it down to a 72 and a 65, but he told me that the police officers, or the judge rather, in the town that I'll be going to, doesn't really appreciate speeding, and really doesn't like speeding at all. And he wrote on the ticket that I was doing 90, and I forget what they call it I don't know, but he did write it, so I'm kind of pissed about that, because he was cool enough to drop it down, but it's still 2 points on my license. And I just started my job. I mean, I haven't even started my job yet, but I didn't get the points on my license yet. I haven't gone to court yet, so I'm gonna call a couple attorneys and, you know, discuss what happened to them and see. A friend of mine, his old boss he used to work for a law firm, and I'm gonna give him a shout and set up something where I can meet his old boss and, you know, discuss things with him and see if there's anything that he could do for me and how much he would charge me for it, and just, you know, work it out so that I pay him for it and that I don't get points on my license, because it's kind of a big deal, especially in a federal job. But I learned my lesson, and I'm not going to be doing 90 to 65 anymore, especially without my radar detector on in a car. Well, I don't know about the motorcycle yet, because I don't know, it's just riding a bike, and sometimes you don't realize how fast you're going on a bike either. But yeah, that is part of my life right now, and other than that, I've been kind of just vegging out and chilling and being mellow to myself. I don't know. If you guys have any suggestions about the speeding ticket, please, you know, go ahead and feel free to drop it in the comment section. You guys, as I always say, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm definitely going to be putting up new footage. I'm not going to say that I'm going to be like I was when I was unemployed, shooting like 3 or 4 videos a week and putting up videos all the freaking time. Because honestly, right now, I really don't have the time. As much as I love vlogging and I love riding, I haven't even had enough time to ride by myself, let alone shoot videos. And I shoot video almost every time I ride. The last time I shot a video, besides the one that I deleted, I brought my camera, and I did almost the same ride that I'm doing right now. And I shot my video, got all my footage, stopped where I was going, looked at my camera, and it said no SD card. So I kind of fucked myself, because I didn't check to see if I had my memory card in my video, or in my camera, and I wasted my time shooting footage for no fucking reason. And that sucks, but it's cool. But that taught me to check my camera. Well guys, just leave me comments about this speeding ticket, and if you guys have any suggestions. Aside from that, go ahead and like, subscribe, and until next time, I'll see you guys.